Welcome back, football fans. This is RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me, Ryan Going Rogue. And this is a fun one. Welcome to the breakdown. Normally, this is our post-game stream where I go through, give you my notes, takeaways from the ball game, and whatever comes from it. This one's a little bit special. We're coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, and I was able to get in touch with somebody that I think you guys will dig. Obviously, second time on the channel for Mike Burton, was kind enough to come back. This is also going into the bye week, so we don't have a game to break down. So I wanted to put it in this slot because this is a great time to talk ball with somebody inside the room, a guy that gets on the field. We don't get a ton of players on this channel, particularly in season, because of the way the NFL PR rules work. But Mike's been kind enough to come back and give us some insight. Now, a lot further down the line, last time we spoke to him, it was training camp, or just about to be training camp. And so the evolution has gone on. He's gotten into the flow of things. He's got a really unique perspective from inside the offense's meeting rooms, working with Mahomes, working with the special teams. This is a great insight into how this game works. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell notification if you want to see more of these and you want to see the breakdowns, the Q&As on Mondays and Thursdays, and all that kind of stuff. But tonight, we're going to focus right now on what it's like to be in the Andy Reid offense, to be part of this machine of offensive firepower that does actually promote the role of fullback a little bit more than most teams around the league. Maybe not as much as I'd like, but that's okay. And again, something that you can't get anywhere else is an insight from somebody on the field as it goes through. This is going to be fun. I hope that you dig this. This is your Kansas City Chiefs fullback, Mike Burton.
Folks, it's a lucky day for you and for me because Mike Burton happens to be bundled up and ready for Thanksgiving and had a little time to come on. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. I want to start real quick. You had an injury. You missed some time. How are you feeling?
Feel great. Yeah. Strength staff, training staff, the organization as a whole did a great job getting me back. And I'm feeling really good. And it's a lot of credit to them. We have great medical staff over there, and it's something I've been working on, getting through, and it's feeling really good for sure.
I noticed you're wearing a harness, right? How does that affect? How does that feel? Have you had to wear that before?
I have not had to wear that before. It certainly helps keep my arm in my body frame, so it doesn't get out wide or anything like that. But I've gotten used to it. I've worked with it extra after practice just to work on range of motion, catching balls, and all those types of things. So I've gotten used to it. I really don't even feel it or recognize it anymore.
Yeah, it certainly looked like you didn't miss a beat there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as that applies to your whole game, like you don't want to be outside your body frame very much anyway, right?
Yeah, so exactly right. You want to have your hands tight, your hands inside when you're blocking it and playing the game of football. So you don't want to be out here holding, doing all that kind of stuff. So it actually kind of helps me. I thought about maybe training with two of them in the off season, to keep my hands in tight. Yeah, to work on my technique and stuff like that. So it's definitely been pretty beneficial for me.
Yeah, you got to tell the coaches that they'll love that.
Right? Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And and last time we talked before the season, I wanted to kind of back up and see, at this point, the bye week I think is really in a great spot for you guys this year. So that's a plus. But it's let you kind of grow into the team and the coaching in particular. I want to ask you what it's like in the room, which coach you spend the most time with, and how does that rub off on the fact that they've all changed roles a little bit this season?
Yeah, I mean, we spend our time with all the coaches, all the offensive coaches. We do a lot of things as an offensive group, and I think that's great because everybody from the coaches to the players are on the same page, and I think that helps with transparency and communication. So we're with Coach Reid, Coach Bieniemy, my coach, Coach Lewis. Every coach really is in that room, and we're all doing things together and just trying to, attack and win the common goal, which is to win every single Sunday. And I think being in the same room and doing it together, I think helps us out a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is that different than the teams you've been with in the past?
Yeah, some teams, you kind of do a little bit more individual stuff, and other teams more group. And I think this is much more group centric, and I think it's great. Again, I think it really does help with the transparency and communication where the players know what the other player next to him is doing, right? So the more information you can know, I think is really huge, and I think that helps us big time.
It's got to be an advantage in this offense of all of them because there's so much stuff going on. Was that hard to get used to? And am I wrong? Is this what you're used to compared to Nagy, to Coach Payton?
Yeah, there's some similarities for sure across the teams and playbooks and things like that. You know, there are teams that do different, same things, but maybe different terminology. Like the formation might be called differently, or the play might be called differently. So it's more of just understanding the terminology. But I've had to learn so many offensive playbooks, even dating back to college. I had a new offensive coordinator each year in college. I pretty much had a new offensive coordinator my career in the NFL. So it's been going on years now where I've kind of had to learn a new offense each year. So I kind of got used to it. So I was up there in OTAs when we were allowed to, and I was just hammering home the details of the playbook and studying that all throughout the summer and in training camp and stuff like that. So I feel comfortable with it. And again, I credit the coaches, man. They do an excellent job just relaying the information to us to make it easy for us to understand and go out there and play fast. And I don't think there's a better coach than Coach Reid of putting guys in position to be successful. Like he finds the plays that, or the players that can fit the plays that are just, it's great. He does a great job with that. So, so far I feel very comfortable with the playbook.
Well, that's great. And I noticed, you've got a couple carries, gotten a couple key first downs,
Yeah.
Are you hoping that continues and expands a little bit rather than kind of straightforward runs and pretty simple routes that you've run a lot of times? Like, do you want more complexity for your role?
Yeah, I'm honored with whatever coach gives me. Again, back to what I said about the putting guys in position to be successful. I think he's done that with me. We're able to scheme up some certain things in situations, whether it be short yardage or on the goal line, like you saw the touchdown on the other day. I mean, that was just a great design and a great play call, and we were able to execute it. So I would love for my role, to expand. Whatever the coach has for me, I'm willing to take on. I'm excited for any and all opportunities that coach gives me. And it's my job to make sure that, I take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, maybe you can pass this to coach for me, because in reaction to that play, I said, what I'd like to see next time is Travis in the middle with you and Noah on either side of him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big tight end fullback. Yeah, absolutely. I know. That'd be awesome.
I'm sure there's a whole evolution of that package, but it's interesting how I think we've seen you line up in a number of different roles. Is there some place, like if you had your druthers, would you rather stay in the backfield? Would you rather get to the H a little bit more? Like, what do you want to do to help out?
Yeah. Again, I mean, I'm comfortable in the backfield and the I offset. I'm comfortable in the H position, like you're saying, that kind of wing position, even in the slot out wide. I've done all those things in my career. So I'm comfortable with all those different things that, whatever coach draws up, I'm comfortable with it, and I can learn it, and I can rep it during the week to make sure I'm comfortable for the game. So, like I said before, I'm just honored and blessed for any opportunity that he gives me. I just gotta, make sure that, I take advantage of those.
Okay. All right. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's get real. How is it going through training camp practices with Andy?
Yeah, it's it was great. It was, man. I appreciate the work ethic that he's instills in his players, and there's no secret to why. Having gone through it, now I know why they found such success and why they win. They can wear teams down. They can sustain drives. They're detailed. They're smart. It's because of how he sets up his training camp practices. I mean, you're working for the 2.5 hours that you're on the field straight. I mean, you're flying around, you're moving around, you're doing different things. He's throwing different things at you. You got to be alert. You got to be on your toes, on your feet at all times. And, I think that's just what he believes is where you find out, you can be a team that in November, December, and January is going to be able to sustain that. And I think that's where he finds that work. That's done in training camp, right? That's not done right now. That's done in training camp and OTAs. And that's the reason why we work how we work. So I appreciate it. It's tough, but you get calloused. That's a big thing for me is getting calloused, is getting your mind and body accustomed to that pounding, to that practicing, to doing all those reps. I think it's just, that's how you got to do it, man. You just got to do it that way. And I think that's what the great teams still do and the great coaches do. And that's obviously Coach Reid. So.
And really it's to get to this point, right, where you have the bye and you kind of reset for a week, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, that's why you'll see we're a team where starters play in the preseason, because that's reps that he knows we're getting those reps, right? Starters are getting that chemistry and those reps together, where some teams don't play their starters at all. And then their first time together, yeah, it's practice. I get that. But in a game situation might not be till week one, whereas our week one, our starters already played together for 3 games. So I think that's an advantage. I mean, that's just, I think Coach Reid does a great job with that. I really do. And I think that's why he's able to separate himself. And as a team, we're able to separate ourselves by how we do training camp and the offseason program.
It's funny. A lot of fans, it doesn't carry through. Like A doesn't connect to B always, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they want to know. And I think a lot of people are really intrigued about the way the week goes. And like you said, you've got those reps up early. So now you're really tailoring, right, to what you want to do each week. You're doing install. How have you grown accustomed to, from what I understand, is a constant flow of new ideas, new plays, like all the time? Is that what you're used to, or is this different?
Yeah, I think there's a good balance of it. There's concepts and schemes and plays that we put our hat on that we're going to carry each and every week. And then again, going back to piggyback on he puts players in, positions that have success. He's also great at scheming up against what the opposing defense is trying to do, right? So what do they love to do? Are they blitz team? Are they coverage team? Where are they creating their pressures? Is it from the front four or the linebacker secondary? So he just does an unbelievable job of dissecting like what the strengths are of that team and then that defense, and then how do we counter it? So that's where you see those new plays come in, because each team could present a different scheme. There's different coordinators that aren't from the same background. So one's maybe a heavy man team, and then the next week is a heavy zone team. So you got to just be able to combat that with having some new plays and new schemes and being able to dial up what you already know and seeing that work against, those different fronts and schemes and those types of things. So, yeah.
One thing I've always been really interested in is how spontaneous is it? Do you get out to practice some days and they come up with a concept on the field when you're trying to walk through something you've already designed in the room?
Yeah, for the most part, everything's pretty much designed or installed in the room, and then we're going to rep that on practice. And then again, you'll see it's kind of a work in progress throughout the week. You see what works again, because he's not going to put a play out there just because, oh, this is a play, we have to run it. Let's say we run it, early in the week, and it's just, maybe guys weren't comfortable or it didn't work or whatever the case may be, or he watches more film or we watch more film, or we're like, we don't know, we're not so sure about that. That's when you can, put other plays in, take plays out, stuff like that. So it's kind of a work in progress, but for the most part, it's pretty much installed in the beginning of the week.
Last thing about the staff that I really want to cover is the interesting thing for me is, all that said, working with Coach Lewis, wide receivers coach, traditionally, obviously played that position. Like, has that made a difference in the way that you approach catching the ball out of the backfield, or is it just he's moved into this role, he's coaching this position now?
I'll say this, first and foremost, Coach Lewis is a football coach. So like he could be coaching, I honestly believe this, he could be coaching the tight ends. He could be coaching probably even the defensive side of the ball. He's just a football coach, and he's super smart. He understands the game like really at a high level, but he is able to communicate to us on a level that's really easy for us to understand. So he could be in any position. That's my opinion. But he brings, from playing the receiver, obviously route running was one of his expertise. So routes out of the backfield, being able to set a defender up and make a move and get open, create separation. He brings that. That's very valuable. And then from a coverage standpoint, right? Because as a receiver, you have to understand what they're doing on the back end. So he brings that for our perspective from the backfield to help identify blitzes. What coverage are they playing? Where's the rotation going, strong or weak, right? And be able to have a bigger view and picture of the whole defense. For the running back, that helps you enable to like pick up pressures more easily and have your eyes in the right position. So just because he was a receivers coach, he brings a lot of stuff over that maybe some people wouldn't understand, but the fact that he's a great football coach and the fact that he can bring over like the coverage aspect of it and the route running has been just great for us. And plus he loves it. He played the game. He got right back in it. I think maybe took a year off. Then he got right back into coaching. So he studies it. So the run game he's studying, he understands the offensive line calls and can relay that to us to say, okay, if there's a check here, maybe this is where I should be. This is the down lineman that we're reading. So he's all ball, and he's been unbelievable this year. So yeah,
man, it's really interesting, especially with the quarterback that you happen to play with. You kind of always have to be ready and know where everything's at, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true too. Yes.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. You never know with him. You gotta get sidearm ball or whatever. You got to have your eyes and hands ready at all times for sure.
Moving forward, now it's like the core of the rest of this schedule is AFC West. Does that change the mentality as you guys prepare? For the fans, it's huge, but what is it for inside the room?
Yeah, to me, look, I mean, we understand that it's kind of a twofer, you know, because you win, and then you also give your opponent you give an AFC West opponent a loss, you know. So we understand that, but again, the process is just to be 1-0. It's the most important game because it's the next game, and that's the mentality that we have. And I think that's where we've been able to find the success, where it's like, just play our ball, worry about us, control what we can control, have a great week of preparation, you know, study, take care of your body, do all the little things during the week, and then let it fly on Sunday, and just do that over and over again, you know, each week. And I think that's where you're going to find that success. So.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm looking forward to the rest of this season.
Yeah,
thank you for taking the time to hang out.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Love these conversations, just talking ball. So I appreciate it.
Folks, that's your fullback, Mike Burton. We'll talk to you all next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And that's going to be a wrap for us. Hope you guys dug this. We'll get Mike back on later in the year. We have a couple of plans. I think that's going to be fun. Hopefully a face that you will see on the channel a whole lot more. And we'll have more insight for you as well. Make sure you like, sub, and hit that bell notification so that you know what's going on around the channel. I'll be back tomorrow night with my Q&A on Monday. Hope that you guys had a great weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.